Got it. Yeah! Got it.
All right. Blessings be upon you.
What say?
Here we go.
Speak your mind.
This ends here!
Speak your mind.
Arthek, worth and rough!
There's something I can do? That's right.
What can I do you for?
Yeah? Let's do this!
Could use something to put a little pep in my step.
You want some trouble, Gotso?
Yeah? You like that? Nice hit. After him!
You need something?
Your story ends here.
What do you need? That must have hurt.
You want some trouble, Gotso?
This ends here! Take this! Leave it to me.
Watcher. Guess what? Now go on and guess, really. Not a god's darned one. And ain't that just it? I feel so fine. Like I swallowed a star and now I got light bursting from my chest. Can you see it in me? This happiness? It's all on account of you, Watcher. Well, now, that depends on what you had in mind. Maybe you're wanting a hug? Or... How was it? They're surprisingly sweet, right? But I ain't so sure we could say the same for me.
My eyes are peeled.
A shadow comes to muddy the light.
Huh?
Not a problem. Fuerza roja!
Yeah? Oh! Ugh, sweet redemption.
Yours to command, Captain.
Worth and rough!
Here we go. Huh. That must hurt.
This ends here! Take this! Let's go! This ends here! You like that? After him!
What can I do you for?
What say?
I will swallow you whole!
Torres, be gone!
Yeah?
Fuerza roja!
Yeah? Blessings be upon you!
You have my attention.
Hey. Huh. That must hurt.
This ends here! Let's do this!
what do I owe this delight? I hope I will still find this disgusting when I am important enough to toast with the elite bounty hunters. I tell them all that the captain of your ship will always be my favorite hunter. A sea troll has been making a name for himself raiding fishing villages with his minions. They call him Tahe. That's thief to the locals. I hear the Huana hate few things more than a food stealer. Warriors fan out to catch the fiend, but so far they have no luck. Tahe can't have roamed far from his latest raid on an island southwest of Nekitaka.
You crack the spine of the old book, revealing blackened pages of dense, illegible text. The words recede into the shadows the longer you focus on them. Suddenly, the page widens to eclipse the world around you. A dark void stretches out on all sides, the air full of choking fumes that carry dying embers and curling flakes of ash. Something stirs in the darkness. An old woman steps forward, leering down at you from on high. Her smile is toothy and cruel. Her cheeks warp around it like melted candle wax.
I'm so glad that my messenger tracked you down. These days it's impossible to find good help. Before you draw your weapon, know that these proceedings are under a banner of peace. If this was a trap, it would have already closed around you. While Bareth whispers in one ear and Aethys shouts in the other, I thought you could use a more seasoned perspective to drown out the noise. Insolence will not help you here, child. Don't you find it unusual how open and accessible my siblings have made themselves? After millennia of subdued whispers, now they practically scream their intentions. And isn't it strange how we never bicker unless a mortal is watching? If we still possessed our glorious titans, my siblings and I would have put an end to Aethys and his rampage by now. While we are powerless to stop him, some of my kin wish to observe how mortals respond to this threat. They think it will shine a light on the value of our patronage. Have we raised you well enough to be self-sufficient? Or must we return to Eora and impose some corrective measures? What indeed? That would depend on which of us you ask. A cross-section of society has converged on the Deadfire. Some of my kin are of an opinion that we are meant to judge mortals on the basis of their performance. While the rest of us have already made up our minds on the matter. Judge for yourself. But I think you'll find my intentions are more straightforward than you think. When we ascended to godhood, we did so to provide for a savage people. Our goal was to craft a society whose values were made to last. Perhaps even a society that had no need of us. A naive fallacy, but one that inspired my optimistic, misguided kin. How you and your allies counter this threat will demonstrate whether you are competent enough to guide your own destinies, or if we need to revise our strategy. The soft-hearted among us are counting on you to win this existential wager. No doubt, Aethys shares their sympathies. I do not. We exist to rule over mortals. Nothing can change that. So now you know the truth. I assume you have questions. Prove it or disprove it, yes. I never agreed to this arrangement, but if your example demonstrates mortal ineptitude, as I trust it will, then I can make the plan serve me. An assertive minority of gods believe that your choices will prove the value of their wild optimism. As if mortal collaboration and ingenuity are endorsements of our leadership. Then there are those of us who know better, who are not so easily convinced. Kith are vulnerable, unless they submit to the destiny we chart for them. Thinking otherwise can only breed dissent and chaos. Whether knowingly or unintentionally, you seem to find yourself on the vanguard of change. Mortals like you come but once in a lifetime. Some would react poorly if I stripped mortals of their freedom without giving them a chance to plead their case. You have the honor of standing tall as their advocate. Before I return to Eora and assume my position as your deserving tyrant, you have this opportunity to prove me wrong. To demonstrate whether or not mortals are responsible enough to claim their future. You speak as if you do. Mortals have precious little time to decide for themselves. Will they stand together as one, or swallow their pride and bend the knee? I have every confidence that you will disappoint us. Once nothing you've done has tarnished it utterly beyond repair. You may congratulate yourself on that much, at least. It was an ambitious plan, our utopia. Perhaps too ambitious. We ascended to power, responding to a need inadequately satisfied. Assuming these roles gave us the authority to mold Eora over time, to influence you and lay the groundwork for a society yet to come. On the outset of the plan, some believed that mortals would outgrow us. As if that was a favorable outcome. To me, our eternal pantheon was always a critical fixture. Aethys was one of those who supported mortals, while I have always been their most vocal critic. A valid, self-defeating question. And one which I posed often. We assumed that they, whoever they were, would reveal themselves to us. Rational government would rule in our stead. Thanks to Aethys, we're pulling the dough from the oven before it's had a chance to fully rise. You unfortunate bastards never had the chance to prove me wrong. You mean gods crafting a godless world? naturally. My siblings desired to influence mortals and steer them in a proper direction, even if that direction led to places we could not follow. I have no intention of being left behind. Society would unravel without its queen to impose strict order. Opposition can take many forms. If a church embraces and weaponizes my doctrine, that is very different from me rampaging as a titan. Aethys is not known for subtlety. Twice now, he has contaminated the purity of our experiment, and done so with extravagant displays that undermine our authority. Impulsive. I am the counterpoint to the soft-hearted. It makes no difference if mortals pass some arbitrary test. My mind is settled on the matter. Regardless of my feelings, the timing of this crisis forces us to accelerate our schedule. Final judgment comes sooner than any of us would prefer. If our pantheon found that mortals had cultivated a perfect, lawful system to maturity, I would not voice a word in protest. I would merely stand aside and await the inevitable collapse. Mortals need us. I know this as well as I know myself. Even a lawful and responsible society would be poised to collapse as long as its architects and strongest adherents were mortal. Any satisfaction that my siblings derived from their little experiment would be short-lived, and it would fall to me to clean up after their mess. Freedom is an unachievable illusion, heralded by the soft of heart. Only those who can find satisfaction in captivity are truly free. Make no mistake, Watcher. In this, you have learned much already. The wheel is our shared responsibility, and each of us serves it in our own fashion. I am the axle upon which the gods balance their power. Aethys keeps the wheel in motion. He was our promise to mortals that time and labor would yield a deserving reward on the next turning of the cycle. At the height of our power, we recognized the potential of the soul. We knew that it could be bound, split apart, diverted like a river, and hammered together. Hammering was trivial. Those of us who agreed with the Apotheosis Project, and many who did not, submitted to a violent and horrible erasure of our individuality. After the dust settled, we adopted the forms of beings from Eora's most prevalent myths. There were other faiths and legends, but we labored to strike their names from history. Much of reincarnation's mechanism exists in the idea space of the beyond. You wouldn't find a wall of cogs and levers unless we conjured one to illustrate a point. The wheel has but one material component in all of Eora. Something we built to channel essence through luminous Adra and into the beyond with reliable continuity. Before we intervened, the flow of essence was directionless, unpredictable. We succeeded in widening the gap, diverting it, giving it an efficient path to follow. Before we took control of the wheel, reincarnation was error-prone, lacking forward momentum. Hollowborn were fairly common, and hardly the worst of the soul maladies. Control gave us the power to strengthen the souls of intelligent kith over generations. We made you wiser, stronger, more likely to develop the society we thought you deserved. Every turning of the cycle demonstrated the righteousness of my belief. Nature begets chaos, and discipline begets perfection. Yes, I think we will. This is not the end of our discussion. You know how to find your way back to this place.
Wotica nods stiffly. You feel her presence drift as a breeze, rustling as it goes.
I join crew. Worthless now, Archimere.
Questions, Captain?
Why not?
Casita, I'm glad we have this chance to talk. I have not properly thanked you for taking me away from that place. That shop and my apprenticeship were like a diving bell, dragging me all the way to the bottom with barely enough air to survive. Archimere was fond of tormenting me. If he had taught me anything of substance, I might even have endured his wretched company a while longer. In any case, now I am free to study the world, and it is because of you. So, what a question. Archimere is elusive. That flamboyant house of his? It is all a performance, a mask that people will not think to peer beneath. I had a sneaking suspicion that he knows more about magic than the rest of the Circle combined. Or maybe he is just an accomplished liar. I may never know the truth. It is a funny thing. I was so quick to chase my ambitions, as if an apprenticeship would outline the course of my life. In the end, I was building a castle in the sand. The taller it rose, the harder the waves swept in to batter it down. Now I have no plan, and the uncertainty is a refreshing change. Right now, I desire nothing more than to enjoy my liberation. I will worry about the problems of the world as they come. I came to the archipelago as a groveling apprentice. One day, I hope I will leave it with a speck more dignity than that. What more could you desire to know, Casita? Not if it means I must submit to a bickering council of madmen plotting against each other. If I ever scribed a spell, it would be the best-kept secret in Eora. Only I would enjoy the satisfaction of knowing it. Fascina's mirthless laugh. Fascina's prickling pox. No, I have it. Fascina's withering glare. Ah, I like the sound of that. Being a part of the circle has its little perks, but also some headache-inducing responsibilities. At least one member must always watch over the Deadfire and see that matters do not fall into total disarray. Arkemir wanted the job about as much as he wanted to lance a boil on his deflated scrotum, but the alternative was giving stewardship to Maura. No one in the circle trusted her with the archipelago. With trading companies dividing up the islands, they didn't think a Huana could stay detached. They also hate tentacle magic. During the changing of the guard, while a handful of imps loaded Arkemir's ship for the journey south, I stowed away in a dresser. Once we were at sea, I made my presence known. A dozen imps tore at my hair and pushed me towards the railing. When Arkemir saw me struggle, he didn't step in to help. He just gave me work. I did what I could to make myself useful. Stitched the sails, disciplined the imps. That one impressed him most of all. By the end of the voyage, I had the little stinkers saluting me as I passed. When we made port in Neketaka, he introduced me as his apprentice and installed me at the cupboard for a life of clerical drudgery. You know the rest. I was searching for a life beyond the cupboard, and that handsome oaf was blessed with a silver tongue. Came in handy when he was licking the boots of his creditors. I don't regret our time together. That was just a different Fascina. What are you looking at? Go back to rearranging your massage oils or whatever it is you do here.
Aye, aye, Casita.
I have always dreamed of opening a magic shop in Neketaka. That was a joke. When I set out on this path, I discovered quickly that magic is all tied up in grammar, precision, and insufferable rules. Take a grimoire, for example. Misplace an accent mark over a rune, all the logic of a spell collapses around it.
And you'd prefer something more ill-defined why, exactly?
I don't want to break the rules of magic, but I want to rewrite some of them. Loosen them up so that any sharp mind can take up the study. The Circle would hate that, wouldn't they? If they could not reinforce their superiority over the rest of us, they might even disband. You assume a great deal, Casita. When they are not striding across an island, the gods concern me about as much as Eora's moons. Religion was never very important to me. I do not expect that to change now that the gods have revealed their petty, narrow-minded ways. When Andra floods our boat, I will be there with a bucket. When Helia sends birds after our sail, I will be there with a gun. Do not ask me to pray. I heard a member of your crew whispering of this, but I am pleased to have it confirmed. Knowing this forbidden truth, does it change anything for you? Perfetto. If the gods are not as legitimate as we once assumed, does this make them any less our gods? Does it make your Ardra Colossus retrace his steps back to Kad Nua? As far as revelations go, this one is not very poignant for me. Maybe I'm just the wrong audience. Nothing takes me by surprise. Ask away, Casita. Keep an eye on Maya. I'll say no more than that.
Yes. You only have to ask.
Let's get a move on.
Captain. Or should I call you the Watcher of Cadnua? I confess that title, something of a mouthful. Do they? I don't think I'd care for people always calling me Animancer. No matter. I would hardly want to be like most people, now would I? Captain it is, then. When you took me aboard, you neglected to mention that you were in pursuit of a rampaging deity. The Blue Colossus may be one of the defining events of the age. I count myself fortunate to bear witness to your investigation. Speaking of, let us return to it, yeah?
Keep the candles burning in his church when no one's around. But that ain't Aethys.